To peace and love and peace and positive energy on this beautiful evening. I wanted to start this video by calmly saying, why Starbucks? Why? Just kidding. As you can see from the title of this video, I will be giving my opinion on the recent Starbucks incident that happened in a Philadelphia location with two young African American brothers, Rashawn Nelson and Dante Robinson. If you haven't seen the video already, these young gods, excuse my baby, arrived at a Starbucks location in Philadelphia 10 minutes early for a business meeting. One of them asked for access to the restroom, and they were asked, were they going to make a purchase? I guess according to the guy, he told the manager that they were waiting on their business partner and that they would be making a purchase once he arrived. They proceeded to sit down and wait for their business partner. And then from the reports and from what the videos are showing, the police were then called and came in to speak with the men, and they were later taken out in handcuffs. As you can see from my first initial reaction in the video, I am clearly a former Starbucks customer. I have gold status, and before this incident happened, I actually would go to Starbucks once or twice a day, 7 days a week. Say hi to YouTube, guys.
Hi.
These are my children. So as you can see, I am a mother of actually 4 children. So Starbucks is very convenient for me because they have drive-thrus. Most of the locations in my area also have good customer service most of the time. And again, they have drive-thrus. They're pretty quick about getting their coffee out, and they have very strong coffee, which is perfect for a homeschooling mother of 4 like me. Now, when I seen the video and the way that these 2 young men were treated, I have joined the boycott, and I have no longer been getting my favorite cold brew coffee from Starbucks for about 2 weeks now since this incident has happened. So I just wanted to give my opinion on Starbucks, share some of my experiences. I do live in California, so racism is evident, we know, all over America and all over the world against blacks, of course, and against others. I've experienced it firsthand in my life. I've experienced it at certain Starbucks locations, and I know that racism is truly undeniable, even in California, where we are really a melting pot. I think bigger than race, though, at Starbucks, the issue is classism. I think that Starbucks employees have a big problem with judging people on appearance and what they think is financial status amongst their customers. A lot of the locations that are in places where there might be a high majority or high population of homelessness, I noticed that they keep their bathrooms with a code and locked at all times. So I have experienced a lot of prejudice in that area regarding bathrooms and regarding access to restrooms, which is odd. Now, as you can probably see, I am of mixed race. My mother is Caucasian and my father is what you would call African American. But I do identify with African American, or I would like to say of African descent, African mulatto. So like I said, I have been a regular customer of Starbucks locations in my town of San Diego County. Stop, honey. Don't mind him. So twice I have had negative experiences regarding bathroom access at 2 separate Starbucks locations in my town. One was with my mother, who is Caucasian, but is not a traditional looking Caucasian woman. She has dreadlocks, and she is a self-proclaimed gypsy, so she appears a little hippie-ish, I guess, if you would say. And this was a location that I have been to regularly. I'd say I probably go to it at least once a week, if not 3 or 4 times a week. My mother and I went, and we were waiting in line for me to order, and she had to use the restroom. Once we got to the front after waiting patiently, I asked one of the baristas and cashiers, who I've seen many times, for the bathroom code for my mother, and she asked rudely if I was going to purchase something. Now, that was a little offsetting because I had been waiting in line for at least 10 minutes, but I politely let her know that, yes, that was the reason why I was in the line, and can I please have the code to the restroom? So she did give up the code that was hostage, and I gave it to my mother, and we did use the restroom. Needless to say, I kind of chose not to go to that location too much longer. I have many locations in my town, so I decided not to keep going to that one. So another time was at another location that has a high volume or a high population of homelessness in the area, and this is another place with a bathroom with a code. And there was actually a man. Now, this was odd because he was not dressed like he was homeless, and he was not dressed like he had a low financial status, but this man was probably of Russian descent, and he came in later in the evening asking to use the restroom. He was told by the cashier that they were cleaning it, and they just didn't want to allow him to go to the restroom. He let them know that he had to go really bad. He was actually an elderly gentleman. And they told him once again, no, that he could not go. So he let them know that he really, really had to go, and that he was going to end up having to go in their corner. And they threatened to call the police on him as well. So my mother and I were really taken aback, and we were really upset by this, and probably should have began a personal boycott then. So I'm a little upset that I didn't personally. But with the recent issues in Philadelphia, I found it needed to join this boycott. So I have been getting my cold brew from other locations, and they have been more inconvenient for me because, again, I am a mother of 4, and the drive-through is a wonderful thing. So I've been having to park far away, walk up. I've had some problems with customer service in the smaller mom and shop pops. Excuse me, mom and pop shops. But I am standing with the brothers and sisters that have joined this boycott in Starbucks, because I feel that it was ridiculous, it was degrading, and it was disrespectful what happened to the young brothers that were involved in this. Now, I know Starbucks has publicly apologized, or the CEO has publicly apologized, God bless you, and that on May 29th, they supposedly will be doing a shutdown and have a racial bias training going on for their employees. And I think that that is all well and good. I think that that is a good idea. They also need to add a class bias as well, because I think that that is a very big issue. They probably need to take the locks off of the restrooms in the areas with homeless people, because that's a little prejudice in my opinion. And it's a little it's almost offensive to human life. Everyone has to use the restroom. Homeless people still can scrape up $2 to come in and possibly buy a beverage as well. So I think it's a little mean, and maybe they should change their policy on that. Now, what personally for me will end this boycott is if instead of, or as well as the apology and as well as meeting with the men, I really think that there should be some sort of compensation, some sort of monetary apology to these young men for the violation that happened towards them. They were embarrassed, and I could feel the embarrassment just by watching the video myself. They were treated wrong. They were taken out in handcuffs in front of everyone. From the reports that I see, these young men are college graduates, they're businessmen. I seen from the video that they were not dressed like you would expect a businessman to be dressed. So I think that probably besides race was a very big issue. They had on sweatpants and they had beards and they had natural hair, which is beautiful to me. But to other races, it may seem offensive or it may seem thuggish in a way. But I feel like Starbucks really needs to compensate these men for the embarrassment, for the disrespect, for treating them in such a way that they did not deserve. And then once that happens, I will be happy to return as a customer to what formerly was my favorite Starbucks. Favorite. Best, strongest coffee that a mother on the go truly, really needs. But it's really a shame what has happened. I'm not really proud to say that I have been a customer of such an organization that would do such a thing. I have been to great Starbucks locations with great customer service that I haven't noticed any racial issues at, but I've also been to some where there's been a lot of judging amongst financial status or what appears to be financial status and judging on, I guess, what would be race, dress style, and things like that. So I really hope that Starbucks can make up for what they've done. I understand that there are some bad apples, like what that manager probably is. I understand that there are some people that weave their way in and probably, everyone doesn't have the same beliefs as them, but something really needs to happen. Something bigger than a public apology and something bigger than just one day of a shutdown for racial bias. Let's open up these bathrooms. Let's let people pee and poo freely in Starbucks. How about that? I understand about having to buy something. I understand about having to make a purchase. You still are a for-profit business. I totally understand. But if someone isn't threatening the safety of your business, if someone isn't causing a ruckus or causing a problem there, I think they need to be treated a little more kindly. Let's have some customer service and let's have just some humanity. I, again, love Starbucks coffee. Besides the 2 times that I've mentioned, I haven't really seen too many issues like the one that I'm speaking of. But I really think it's time for a change. Thank you. Like and subscribe, guys. Have a great night.
Bye.